Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. It is Monday, July 8th, and we got some good numbers coming out this week. So let's see first the charts here. Oops. I want that one right there. There we go. Okay, so equities are down just a little bit. I'll make this big for you guys. So on Friday, we had this big move down, big move up. Equities are down a little bit, but not quite as far, and now they are ranging right here. The 10-year had a huge drop. Of course, those good job numbers significantly decrease the chance of more rate cuts later in the year, although it does not appear that it will affect any rate cuts here in July. Nevertheless, they fell quite significantly, broke down through some of this downward support. We still got some support numbers below us. We could continue through today in the Treasuries. We'll see. So that's that. And the news we've got, well, we don't have anything today, really. Nothing significant. Tomorrow we got Chairman Powell speaking, JOLTS. Wednesday, we've got the chairman is speaking to Congress. And then we got auctions later in the week. And PPI on Friday. Good morning, Lucas. Also, good morning to John and Alligator. Boom, 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 boom. Where are we here? There we go. Wow. Just looking from the chart, I'm thinking that maybe we could have some continuation of trends. So the 10-year may continue to sell off. We might see the return of the counter trends. Let's see, did it do at that time? No, they both went up. Also, I'm noticing 6J is down and, a little bit of 10-year movement with it. So that correlation's not too strong. Gold is moving up a little bit there. Look at it go there on the open. So I guess they're buying today. New Treasuries. They could make it to the overnight. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and make it back to 128, in fact. 20 is a pretty dangerous spot to be buying, though. I want to see... Well, let's see what happens. That 4K at 19 is interesting. I'm not seeing too much overexcitement on here, so they might actually, they could do a little bit more, I think, actually. Believe it or not. Might go for more. Deutsche Bank falls 3.5%, extending losses. Deutsche Bank is cutting some jobs today. Oh, by the way, we need to turn on the light. I always forget to do that. Did I forget to do anything else? That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. I think we're okay. Well, it's interesting the treasuries are moving up the way that they are, but no, and the other stuff aren't really moving. And on that move, what did the spread do? It steepened just slightly, but it looks really strong in the 30-year. So we might be getting that bull steepener again, huh? Lucas says, I'm ready. Oh, and by the way, good morning, Uzi. I think I missed you there. So I'm thinking today, I was just watching myself last week, and I think that I looked a little high strung. I looked a little high strung, so I think I need to relax a little bit. Some of the things that happened were not, like I let one bad thing like really, really get me going. So I need to just relax. So that's our focus today. I am feeling a little bit anxious just because we had this move here and wasn't really ready, you know? Seems like we've had good moves right off of the open lately though, haven't we? We did when we skipped from 20 to 21, we skipped 20 half. Alligator says, yes, it seems so that we might be getting a bull steepener again. So that kind of puts us in a difficult spot in the 10-year because there might be a little bit of selling in the 10-year side of the knob, even though we move up. So that might mean that we might see some selling into, we might see some limit selling at like 21, for instance. We might see some icebergs okay, so there's a huge iceberg at 20 half. They're totally willing to exchange that. That was interesting. That was a pretty... Did we get a big order there? We didn't get a big order there. Two smaller orders got triggered, but... That was kind of interesting. And to tick up. All right, and a little bit of iceberging at 21. So I'm thinking right here, I don't think I'm going to take it, but I think that you might see another tick or two up. See that absorption at 21? Yep, 21.5 is getting weak now. They're going to go for it. Nope, maybe not. Oh. That sell was a pretty significant. Okay, there it is, uptick. Not a strong one. I think, though, you still might see them clear 22. Well, as this happens, the E-mini is coming down just a little bit. I should mark out here, what are my critical areas? Okay. $71.25 low and $92.25. Single print. Do you use NT charts, Susie? I think he uses something else, right? Because he sent us a picture the other day and it was something else. What's John got showing here? Kind of showing the bot. Oh, NT charts for one range in 30 minutes and DOMs for days. Oh, okay. Maybe it was that he had NT charts, but he had like a volume profile that I didn't recognize. Well, probably enough that have gone into 22 that you would get filled. My charts are missing the entire non-farm, well, the entire NFP session from like 8 a.m. So in NinjaTrader, if you're getting that, you reload historical data. Yep, as he says it. I'll show you. You right click on the chart, say reload all historical data. You can also do Control Shift R. And this happens on NinjaTrader to me all the time. Well, now that you would get filled at 22, so there was 2 there. Is there more in it? I'm not seeing the robots doing anything. Some of the big orders have calmed down though. Overall seems pretty quiet. Also, does seem like on oscillators and everything that we've gone pretty far, decently far. Worked perfectly. Cool. Good job. Glad that we can help. I wish I knew why NinjaTrader did that because it bothers me. Like, I always think when I'm doing backtesting, I've had this thing where I'm doing backtesting and like I'll backtest one thing and then I'll change something and it doesn't work anymore. So then I'll change it back and then I don't get the same results anymore. And I'm like, did it change? And that often happens when I'm on Friday. And so I'm like, well, maybe it's sending me different historical data now that the market is closed. I've gotten that many times. So there are some weird things with how NinjaTrader handles data that I don't understand. Okay, so they tried to push there. They actually bid about 2,000 there for a second at 22. Activity overall, though, has really slowed down. The big guys are not nearly as interested anymore. So kind of hard to say, but we might get a little bit of a pullback here now. Excuse me. In fact, now I'm concerned that like that was the initial move and that was probably the best. I mean, that's a good move for a Monday, isn't it? That's a good move for a Monday. But I'm worried that maybe now the markets get frustrating again. You know what I mean? You might want to try a short around here. Well, the 30-year did step back a little bit. Right here, 16. Day's over now, right? I mean, if I had taken that at 18 and gotten 22, I would probably be greedy and be looking for more, but probably I should be quitting at that point. Know what I'm saying? Lately, I think... So that's what I'm thinking. I feel like that I get a little bit high-strung and I get greedy. You know what I mean? That... You think maybe looking at me last Wednesday, last Friday, maybe that's true. Okay, so 21.5 goes offer. I'm going to wait for these oscillators to come back all the way. This is maybe a spot we could buy the E-mini, actually. Like this, if I could get filled at A350. But it's in a pretty tight range, and I'm not so sure that there's really any reason for the E-mini to move outside of this until the open. And so, even though I think this is a good spot, I'm not sure enough about the probability here to feel comfortable going long yet. Maybe if it had pushed down and overextended. John says the overnight high was 21. At prior week's midpoint, it was 155.24. So they might be trying to get up to there in the 30 year. And tick up. I guess another possibility is it goes sideways forever and then they push up and they break the highs. That's another way this has worked out lately. If those 21 stays bid, they might want to push higher. Oh, the 21 and Leanne. You always got to put that 0 at the end, or I don't know what you're talking about. I think when I see 21, I think, oh, he must be talking about the 30 year. Oh, excuse me. I bumped the microphone there. Interestingly enough, there was some buying in the E-mini, and it didn't budge at all. Oh man, so 22 goes bid. They're pumping it. So that one was a little tricky. That tick up got me excited, and now they're not going to go. Now I won't short it all after seeing that. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that you could have gone short at 22, right? But you'd get 2 ticks out of it. Not worth it. Just like when we were at 21 and I thought we would see 22. But it was like 2 ticks, it wasn't worth it. Maybe they just shoot off here, though. Who knows? I mean, now, when we were here before, 21.5 was kind of more the balanced area. They weren't nearly as balanced here as they are at 22 right now. So that says to me that the pressure is upwards. Okay, so there's some stacking. Some big orders stacking right there. Uzi, go for 24, my boy. No. The 5 year looks like the 5 year is kind of tinkering with it. They were ticking up, maybe they were going to go for it, and back down. We got to figure out what causes this bug here in the 5 year that the absorption is always minimal. He may want to bring the point of control up to 15 first. Yeah, he wouldn't need much. They've already done it in the 10-year. I don't know though, like, the thing that bothers me about this area is that they just seem super anxious. Well, maybe not anxious, but like, it wants to go a little bit too much, given the context and everything else like that. And so that kind of, because it's a Monday, that ZF issue you have is weird. I don't have that. Yeah. I think we could fix it. Here, we'll fix it. Here, I go here. Let me just show you my camera for a second. Because sometimes when I see that, when I show this thing, it shows some stuff that you're not allowed to see. Okay. All right. So there it is. There's the default. What's different? Oh, don't need the order column. And I can kind of make that. And I can kind of bring this in a bit. Just a little bit more. Maybe that. Okay. There we go. And then I bring up the Vista chart. Where is it? There we go. We need that over there. This should not ever be taking orders. Okay, so now it's fixed. See that? Now I can actually see stuff there. So it's like if I reset the whole thing. I don't know. Oh, they did touch 22.5 while I was doing that, didn't they? Oh, no, they did that before. Looks like they're leaning on the SFAT 5K at 20.5. That was a good point. E-mini came back down in cumulative delta, but it's still just sitting where it was. Ow. Did you hear that? My collarbone was snapping in. Got one of those like cane things. It's like a big plastic cane that you can use to like massage parts of your back and stuff. And it works really well, and I really like it, but I've got problems, folks, with my back. So the 21 is going offer. See, it's a pretty narrow range, but you can see how it's doing very rangy behavior. They make you get excited. They make you think that, well, maybe not you, but me. I look at it and I'm like, oh, look, they're going to try and sell it past 20.5. And then nothing happens. Kamala Harris stopped short of accepting Joe Biden's apology. We cannot rewrite history. Well, the thing that's really weird about the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden thing is that Kamala is talking about like busing people like still today. which is like, what? I didn't realize that was a thing. Anyways, oh yes, and then Hot Air finally reporting on Epstein being arrested for sex trafficking minors. Will he name names? Oh. I'm really shocked that the whole Epstein thing, is that how you say his name? Epstein. The whole Epstein thing is only coming out now. What's with that? Like, I've been seeing people post pictures about his orgy island and how he was trafficking minors and all this stuff for like 3-4 years now. And only now he gets put in for he gets jailed for sex trafficking. Like, really? Man. And some of the Clinton people are already doing damage control too. You hear about their plans for housing equity. Is that like that isn't what led to the last housing crisis, right? I tell you what, man, that is the housing crisis. I don't know if it's a housing crisis, but okay. But we're talking about the housing crisis like 2008, right? But there is still like a lack of okay, so they pulled that 20 half, the 5K pulled, and they're gonna trade into it. It looks like, oh man, is it all gonna pull? I'm telling you, it's like all of a sudden they become unreliable when they come into that spot. Anyways, there are not enough there is not enough low income housing right now. And all of these things that they do to try and solve it just make it worse. Okay, they did trade into 20 half and it actually absorbed a bit, so. Harrison Warren are legitimately selling another housing crisis? Yeah. Well, one of the things that bothers me is like the student the student loan thing. Like they come out and they say, "Oh, we're going to forgive everybody's student loans." Okay, you realize you can't just do that. Like that affects things. That affects a lot of things. And basically the only way that you could ever get away with that is if all second level education became free at that point. Right? They don't necessarily say that, but that's the gist of what they're actually doing. So they're making all school in America free. They loosened lending restrictions on banks to get more minorities in houses. All they did was get poor people in houses they could never afford. Yeah. Well, there's a real problem when you give people debt that they can't handle. It's a little troublesome. I think that for the past 30 years, really, that the economy has been based so largely on debt. Like that's like, oh man, where was it that I was reading this? It was such a good article. Such a good article. But they were saying, okay, look, there is a gap between productivity increases and wages. So if workers are more productive and are creating so much more stuff, but they're not getting wage increases, then who's buying all of the stuff? Well, turns out the way that they're buying all of the stuff is with debt. Right? That's a problem. That's not sustainable. Yep, houses thusly sold for crazy inflated prices. I was a broker in 2000 and 2008. It was a mess. Appraisers had a field day with that stuff. Oh man. So here's my story about the housing crisis, and it's short and boring. In 2008, the beginning of this summer, I was working I had like an internship job where I basically drove around a car and visited stores. And then at night, I was going to real estate school. Not that I wanted to be a real estate broker, but I wanted to have the ability to do that because my dad has done that for a while, and he's actually what do they call it? He's got the level above that too, so it could work for him. Anyways, so I went to real estate school. So this is like May of 2008. And they basically straight up told us, like, the market is not going so well. And a lot of prices have been inflated because, all of this other stuff, because loans have become too easy. And so the chances are that the market is not going to look very good for the next few years. They didn't say that like there was going to be a financial crisis, but they straight up knew that the housing market was collapsing. Like everybody that was a professional in that area knew that something was wrong. Super, super crazy, right? So I was like, so what? Like I took the course and then I never took the test because I was like, well, sounds like well, first of all, because it was exhausting to take those classes and then work all day. But then second of all, because I knew what was happening and it wasn't something that I was going to use anytime soon. So I never took it. But you'll see, I made my political video for this week, my political analysis of the debates, and I made a video analyzing Mr. Andrew Yang. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Anytime that I do these videos, I'm like, I never thought that I would even be able to make a video like this. And it's not anything complex. It's just, going through the video, pausing it in certain spots and commenting on it. But it just makes me so happy to see the final product. And and he talks about, they kind of question him on that sort of a thing. And he doesn't really actually have a good answer, because he's basically saying, we'll have a VAT tax. Well, what's a VAT tax? A VAT tax is a consumption tax. A VAT tax is a sales tax that you pay at every point of the sale of the object. So when they buy the materials, they pay a VAT tax on that. And then when they make it into the product and they sell to you, you pay a VAT tax on the part that wasn't taxed before. So it's a consumption tax. Basically, it makes everything more expensive. And then the debate guy asks him, well, so you're going to give people $1,000 a month, and then what are they going to have to pay it on? They're going to have to spend it on everything is more expensive now because of your VAT tax. And he was like, well, a VAT tax wouldn't affect the lower income people as much as the higher income people, is what he says. But like, where's the numbers? Like, prove that. He doesn't. Can you actually prove that, okay, I'm going to get $1,000, but then I'm going to pay like $200 a month more in VAT tax or something like that? Like, is that what is that ratio? I don't think he actually knows. When I was watching his video over again, I focus more on his debate performance, but I kind of question how much he has really thought this through. Like, he has a couple of numbers, but it sounds to me like he's this rich guy that he's read the internet too much and he's bought into this basic minimum income thing, but he's not an economist and he doesn't really know what he's talking about. Yeah, and nobody has really done the math on these sorts of questions. And this happens all over the place. Did you watch The Big Short? Oh, that's a good movie. That was a byproduct of securitizing the shit loans we were writing. They show something like what you said about stated income. No doc balloons, 327s, 328s, sub 500 credit scores. It was horrible. My first loan was for a woman in her 80s who was doing a cash out refinance so she could prevent the bank from repossessing her car. I got her with a subprime lender at 12%. What? Wait, 12% interest? Who would pay that? Oh, I guess now looking at the market now with interest rates so low, that seems crazy. But man, who would pay 12%? I made $4,000 to dump that woman into a garbage loan. Oh man. It's not good stuff. Well, the thing with the Democrat debates though is you got to remember that they never do what they actually say they're going to do in office. Okay, that tick down 20 half, 2,000 stack, a little suspicious. This still looks to me like trying to push it down, and maybe they'll flip it. Like maybe we could get the VWAP bounce here. I'm gonna watch it real careful now. All of a sudden, what happens when you invest that is not yours? You make bad investments. It's yours. You make more careful decision. I believe that is the inherent problem with contracting debt and loans. Oh yeah, well this the inherent problem with government investing, right? There are some things that only the government can really invest in, like nuclear fusion. Okay, if we're going to discover a workable nuclear fusion reactor, it's going to be largely in part due to government research grants, right? But every time that you give the government money to invest, they squander it. Every time that I've seen in my life, at least. Solyndra, come on. What about here's a worse one. We've talked about this before, right? AIG, right? Government bailout. We let the government invest with our money, taxpayer dollars, and like we got basically nothing out of the investment. Could have made a bundle on AIG, and they basically did it in a way that was like, well, we don't want to make any money on it. Come on. People who complain about the bank bailouts have no idea that was the government doing what it promised it would before they loosened lending restrictions. Did they promise that they were going to do that? I mean, there was nothing in the law that said that they had to do that, right? Everyone knew the last financial crisis was going to happen, but they did it anyways. The government let it happen for the political points, and the finance industry did it basically for free money. Yeah, well, I don't think anybody realized that it was going to be like almost a complete collapse, right? They even squander on more mundane things like software projects. Yeah. Well, Dojo, it's interesting you bring that one up because think about the Boeing thing, right? Have you guys read the Boeing story? That one to me is crazy. So they outsourced the creation of their software for Boeing, and this is the software that was causing their planes to crash. And they had outsourced it to developers in India that they were paying like literally $10 an hour or something like that. And I'm telling you, as a company, and I see this in companies all the time, and it's not even necessarily just outsourcing it to India, but outsourcing it to anywhere. Never outsource something that is what is the word, fundamental to your business. Never do it. Write it yourself. Doesn't matter how hard it is. Never outsource it, because when you outsource it, it's not theirs. They don't care. They just don't do as good of a job. Never do it as good of a job. And then usually what ends up happening is you get this piece of software that doesn't completely fulfill your requirements, and you have to fix it, and you don't know the piece of software very well. So then you waste even more time trying to fix their crappy software when you could have developed it yourself in the first place and saved yourself a ton of money. It wasn't in the law or anything, but that's how politicians sold it to the public. Yeah. Well, the thing that still bothers me about the financial crisis is that you have to have a bailout. There's always a bailout, guys. There's always a bailout. The only time that there was not a bailout was the savings and loans crisis, and that was because the government already owned the loans, right? So how the government's going to bail out itself? That's the only time there wasn't a bailout. Every other time, literally since the founding of this country, every 30 years there is a financial crisis, there is a bailout. The difference in the 2008 crisis was that they directly used taxpayer funds to do it. That's the difference. And there was a bill that raised the funds from the public sector, and they weren't interested in doing it. See, politicians used it as a cudgel to gain more control over the financial industry. Hence the reform bill that they had. And there's some good things about it. The financial system is much safer than it was, but they've also put too many controls on the market. And so now you kind of have the situation that we have today where, banks don't have prop desks anymore. So you can get a move started and there's not anybody big enough to stop it. That's one of the consequences. The problem is not the bailout, it's the non-restructure of the system that allows those crises and responsible people who didn't go to jail, let alone lose all their capital. Yeah. Well, I think that's another problem, that they didn't go to jail. But I mean, if you want to restructure this system, then you're talking about getting rid of all debt, basically, right? I don't know. Deutsche is laying off approximately 20,000? Wow. Wait, what? Really? I heard that they were laying off people, and I saw that their shares were up initially, but then are down. But that much? Wow. Then in a few years, there's another financial crisis, and poof, they run on solving the financial crisis they created. Well, I think that, when you look at that sort of a thing, the problem is always systems, right? It's not really individual people. You have a system that feeds in on itself and perpetuates a certain thing. And when a system becomes so self-perpetuating like that, it's very difficult to stop, right? I mean, people always talk about, like when I worked at Goldman, they would always say, oh, there was that Taleb article where he basically accused Goldman Sachs of engineering every financial crisis since the start of ever. And it's like, well, if you're a major financial player in the financial industry, and there's a financial crisis, you're going to be involved in it and you're going to have lost money. This doesn't mean that you're like engineering every financial crisis. It's just, that's the system. That's, if you're in finance, you're going to be involved somehow, and it's not like those people are bad. And that company tries very, very hard, so much harder than any other company I've ever seen out there, to try and be moral and a good actor in the community and everything like that. And they go through all that effort, and what do they get for it? Nothing. Everybody still thinks they're evil. It's so funny because at the end of the day, all we need is a tax structure that spurs job creation and allows the working class to keep more of their money. That's it. But no, we just have to keep selling programs that create more problems for the government to solve. Well, I agree with that. There are a lot of problems in Washington that people, like this humanitarian crisis on the border, for instance, was very much created by the politicians. The only thing to do is get smarter as an individual, identify those instabilities in the system, and protect yourself. Well, yeah. Well, I think it's even more simple than that, guys. Don't take on unnecessary debt. Primarily, credit card debt is the one that kills everybody, right? You don't need credit card debt. Don't have it. Pay it off. Only use it for a big purchase and then pay it off back as soon as you can. And that's it. There's some people, and these kids that by 25 they've acquired tens of thousands of debt from buying things, just from buying clothes and stuff like that. Like, are you crazy? Don't do it. The only thing that you should put that you absolutely have to have debt for is your house and your car. And everything else, you need to do everything that you can to avoid it. Now, sometimes it's not, sometimes it happens like you have to put money on because you need to fix your car, right? But if you don't have the debt, that gives you flexibility, right? Because then you get to be the person that profits off of all of that stuff, right? If there's a financial crisis, you have money saved up, you have the ability to then invest that in the market and make tons and tons of money. Or frankly, you can be one of those guys that borrows all of the money and is basically getting free money from the government, right? That's the crazy thing. Is that the government has a system, it's called Treasury bonds, where they basically tell you what they're going to do. They basically tell you what they're going to do, and you can invest a certain way to take advantage of it. And it just happens that most regular everyday people can't take advantage of it because they don't have enough money to invest. I believe if you buy something with debt, you are buying something that you didn't earn yet. Yeah, totally. And like I said, that's okay. But you're better off the less debt that you have, always. Because if you didn't have that, if you had some money saved up during the 2008 crisis, you're in a good spot, buddy. So now I am seeing the E-mini has come down a little bit. I kind of like this spot. I think I'm going to take it here. When garlic coin goes down, you can go all in. Well, here's the problem with that dojo. I think I already have plenty of garlic coins. I have enough coin mined that I could probably crash the garlic coin market. I would never do something like that, and I would never intentionally manipulate price because I think it's immoral. But I sat down and I did a calculation, and I said, okay, if I think that garlic coin can get to this particular market cap, how many coins do I need to mine? And how long would that take me to mine? And I did all the calculations, and I mined for a long time, and it all worked out perfectly. Like, I mined the amount that I wanted to mine and everything. And then I've now mined almost 50% more than I wanted. So, yeah, I have too many garlic coins. I need to get rid of some of them, but I keep being too lazy to go and pull it out of the cold wallet because I'd have to go and, have to pull the keys out from a piece of paper and everything like that because it's not even on my machine. Okay. But at some point, I tell you what, the thing is if somebody even bought like $100 worth of garlic coins right now, it would really push the price. like if I wasn't in and I was the type that was going to manipulate things, which I'm not, but maybe you are, and mine a certain amount with your video card, and then go and buy that same amount. So like mine $100 worth of it, and then buy $100 worth of it, or something like that, and you make money. Probably make 4 times what you put in, if not more. Okay, so that was a pretty significant iceberg that they got over there at 20.5. Millennials hold an average of 2,500 savings. You should have at least 1 year's salary saved by 30, but most people struggle to have a basic emergency fund. Wow. So I don't think, no, I don't think that I have that much. No, probably not even close. Even if I take like the 401ks and all that sort of stuff. Man, I don't think that hardly anybody can do that these days. That's a lot to save up. They're pretty good optics there in the treasuries. So maybe if you had caught it as she goes at 2.5, that'd be a good trade. See if you'd get filled at 21.5. Ding, ding, ding. Normalization is a joke. Trader blasts concept of insurance cuts. So that brings us back to the real subject here, which is the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates again. Shouldn't be happening. Like that's the unsaid thing. I don't think that the media wants to say it because you have to admit some uncomfortable truths. Probably the easiest case to be made is that the Federal Reserve screwed up and Donald Trump was right. They don't want to say that Donald Trump was right, but seems to me like the Federal Reserve shouldn't have raised rates, and now they're reducing them because they made a policy mistake. But the other side of the coin is that we're going to go into a recession. That's the other possibility there, is that they're going to have to continue to lower rates because the economy is going to slow down at that point and go into a recession. And you don't want to admit that either. Well, for a month there, they made it seem like, everybody was talking like we were going to go into a recession, but now all of a sudden here in July, everybody seems to think that, we'll just move sideways for a while, but everything will be rosy. I'm not so sure about that. Cutting rates has other adverse impacts on the economy that people don't acknowledge. They always say, oh, well, the economy was going to do that anyways. But it's not true. It accelerates things. Because when you cut rates, there are certain people that benefit from raising rates, and there are certain people that do not benefit from raising rates. And it's vice versa, the other way around. So anytime that you make a significant change in policy, when you reach those inflection points, people lose money. That's what I think. That's Seth's economic theory. Go send that to the Federal Reserve. They should do some research on that. Inflection points cause adverse impacts to the economy as beneficiaries of rising rates start losing money, or beneficiary of lowering rates start losing money. Nice entry on the MES trade. Well, yeah, so far it hasn't gone against me. Only 2 ticks is not nothing to get too excited about. But it is in line with the way that the strategy is, right? So we'll see if it turns out. See if a buy comes in here in equities or not. I'm a little concerned that they're still going to do this, hey, Seth is not allowed to make money thing again. It's already there in my head. Right there at the val. It's a good spot. Oh, yeah. Well, and there's kind of like, a little spot in the profile, and I can just see there's like support there. And they went through the support, received some acceleration, and then somebody absorbed it all. So that's why I took it there. And I'm hoping that all those guys that went short there are going to freak out when it comes back up. And then we'll have the momentum, and then going into the open, they can continue to move up. Fingers crossed. I don't know. At this point, it's like that's the trade, and it's just kind of let it go because we don't want the monkey brain to sabotage it, right? Seeing good order flow at a good spot is a good attempt. Yes. Now for targets, I'm probably looking for like the open, basically. The overnight open, so like somewhere around 29.92 area. Yeah, can't control whether or not the sellers plow in after you enter. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I think when I was a new trader messed me up the most, was like I would get into a trade, seems like it's going well, and then all of a sudden sellers would come in out of nowhere and sell it. And I would think, oh, that meant that was a bad entry. That meant that I was tricked or that it wasn't what I thought it was bad. But that doesn't necessarily mean that. It could mean that a piece of news or something else out there caused people to start selling it at that point, even though your original signal was good. So it becomes incredibly hard to know, to test things and say, okay, I saw something there. Is that actually a thing? And then you backtest it for a week and you say, oh, it is a thing. But then as soon as you start using it, it doesn't work. Yeah, because you need to have the enough experience to be able to say whether or not those particular spots are actually like working because there was actually something to it, or if they were working because you were getting lucky. Don't give losers too much room to run. That's it. Right. And that, I think, is my biggest problem, is that I've been getting decent favorable ticks in the MES, and I'm not taking the profits on them. And then I'm getting too much against me, and I let it go all the way to the stop. So I probably, on those ones, like this one, it would probably be okay. But there's some of these ones where, I can't even get one favorable tick, and then it's against me 4 ticks, and I'm like, oh, it'll pull it out, and it never does, right? And it'll let you out at the -4, but then when they start pushing there, all of a sudden everybody's freaking out, and you're already caught. When they start doing that, it kind of means like you're on the wrong side of the trade. Everybody else is going to start panicking, and you probably want to be out first. Stop worrying about the wife. It doesn't work. Kick her out of the house. No. Listen, the dream is that she shouldn't have to work. Well, that's not really the dream anymore, but it would be nice. It would be nice for her, at least. Okay, so now it has gone 2 against me. And pretty quickly, I might add. When it was in my favor, it was incredibly slow. I mean, the trade. I know, but you made a very obvious solution. I'm just saying, you got to be careful with that kind of an attitude, because even she's a popular girl. She can go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? She's going to leave you before you have the chance to kick her out of the house. Well, part of the problem here is that even though Treasuries had that pretty decent move up, it just basically retraced and we're back to 20 again. I suppose 20 would be an okay place to buy it, but then it becomes, too convenient, so they might have to push down a little bit further again, and then maybe they can recover and move up. It's actually, when you look at the adaptive CCI, here, look at my chart. Look at the CCI down here. They're only just barely now coming back to even. So the trend in the 10-year is unclear. Well, the other thing that I'm seeing is that even though we've moved down here, 2 ticks against me, so far at least, the sell has been a lot weaker than the previous one, so I think I should hold it for now. I'm going to be a little contrarian here, taking a guess. ES is below the initial balance. Point of control is trending down. I'd keep a sell balance. So a sell bias. Okay. Well, you do have some good points there. The initial balance was down to here. Well, actually, it was way up there. Hmm. Well, we'll see this next round of buying come through. That's another thing is that I think I'm screwing up in the ES is that I'm not paying attention to the what do we call these things? The swing, the rotations. You know, so there was just a rotation down. We're going to get a rotation up. If there's not, that rotation up isn't good, then I need to puke. I'm too lazy to type stuff in the comments column on Jigsaw. Well, Uzi, I'll make something for you. I'll make something for you because you can. Well, it's hard to automate it, but you can come in here into Jigsaw and you can load levels and load the file. So I can make it so that all you have to do is go in there and click load every day, and then it would be on your DOM. I was meaning to do that a long time ago, but then I was like, nobody cares. But just a NinjaTrader indicator that just outputs like the initial balance levels. Previous day. Should be pretty simple. Since indicators to do that already exist, so you basically just have to, tell it at a certain time to spit those out into a file. It's okay though, gotta use those 4 monitors or something. Yeah. I think 4 would be too many for me. No, you know what? I could totally use 4 monitors. It's just where would I put them? I got these studio speakers that are in the way of having 2 more monitors, unfortunately. Okay. I'm detecting a little bit of up pressure in the treasuries again. What was this? It's kind of odd. Kind of looks to me like that the treasuries moved up, and then when they came back down, somebody was trying to spoof it to hold it on the way back down. Well, so far this trade has been kind of what I was worried about also, though, which is that there doesn't appear to be a huge incentive for E-minis to move until the open. I guess treasuries ticking up a little bit is helping. They do seem to like that. And buy all the things day, maybe. Uptick again. Hey. Okay, so that was a decent amount of movement there in ES now. It was much more velocity on the upturn than there was on the downturn, even though they haven't quite equalized in cumulative delta. Bid support higher in ZB, need some more on the market buy side, though, to get the engine roaring. Yeah. It's because of this freaking, man. It's always this time, this 30-minute time period before the equities open that's just so difficult in treasuries. Also note on my DOM, 10-year and 5-year 1 tick up, 30-year 2 ticks up. From where I reset it, at least. May have more to do with where I was. This area right here. Messy. I hate those. That's a bad action for ZB. ZB already had its morning overnight IP test, which the thing does just about every morning, so hopefully that little move wasn't all I get. So lately when we've been moving up in treasuries, they'll move up and it just goes completely dead. And then by the time we all give up on it and forget about it, and then they move it up again. So let's see if that pattern holds today. It's interesting to me that people on Twitter are talking about whether or not Trump is going to be implicated in the Epstein stuff, where based on what we know about him, publicly available information on this, it's extremely unlikely that he gets implicated. And it's kind of, I think, just like mass hysteria. Again. Morning test. Uzi shows where it touched it at 03, yes. Oh, that was way earlier in the morning, though, huh? Okay, well, we had a rotation up. We're having a rotation down. I thought that the rotation up was really good. From what I know about Epstein, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a Clintonian accident. Yep. Absolutely. Anyways, I thought that the rotation up was really good, but it's moving down a little bit too easily. I suppose that that's within the new range now. These treasuries aren't exactly buying up, are they? Let's see, we should see the 155.21 area. Yep, that's what we're looking at. Yeah. It's interesting that IQ is along too, even without talking to us, I think. The bias there in the treasuries is really obvious. That was part of what made me like, I think they can go to here, but then because it's too obvious, even though it probably is going to go up again, they're going to have to tinker around with it forever in order for them to actually get filled and make money off of the move. And so it can't go yet. And the more that people believe in it, the longer it's going to take, essentially. Because it can't move until there's like maximum disappointment, right? Hmm. Well, I didn't like that. I'm moving this down because we're coming to the open. There's a lot more bids below us than there are above us. Delta continues to be negative. Oh, we're right. Screens. What's this? 800 plus roadblock clears at 18. That should make a run for 21. So yeah, there's that fight. There's almost 6K stacking at 21. But so far today, every time that we've seen something like that, does step up to it and then it disappears. Like it's a Monday. On a Monday, those sorts of things are extremely unreliable. Okay, so I'm stuck in it on the open. Not a clear first impulse. Incredibly slow open in ES. Some stops there. Well, this looks like a loser. Okay. So now I guess that kind of confirms to me that we're definitely still kind of on a sell today. Unless I see a major pivot, we probably want to wait for a good, you know, too much of a buy and try and go short. Treasuries are up a few ticks. That's interesting. Also, it was a decent amount short. Decent amount. Hi, Zaldia. Or maybe it's Zaldia. Or Zaldaya. I don't know. We need a pronunciation guide. Like, nicknames should have, like, a built-in... Well, you know, they kind of do have that. And, like, Discord and stuff like that, you can, like, tell it how to say your name, right? British oil tanker seeks shelter over fears it could be seized by Iran. You know what? I wonder what Iran is thinking because, like, I could be wrong, but I would think that trying to bring the British Navy into this thing too is probably about the worst thing you could possibly do. Excuse me. Where is this? So there's the buy potentially. Gonna make a run for the open now? No. It's too early too. Ike says 29.78 is first target. For your short. I don't know. There was about, I mean, we started 8,000. Now off of this open, we're down about 5,000 contracts. That's a decent amount short. But it was just really slow on the open. So I'm not sure. I do think that my bias needs to be short now. But I'm just not so sure that... So what is your view on Libra? So Libra is the Facebook coin, right? Yeah. So I think that the Facebook coin is unlikely to affect the larger cryptocurrency ecosystem very much. We'll see if people use it. It might be a popular service like Venmo. Can totally see it picking up traction. Although personally, last thing I would want is to have my money in the hands of Facebook. But I don't think it's going to affect the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Really, when you think about it, it's a competitor to, crypto as a whole. So, if it does really pick up, it's not necessarily a positive thing for cryptocurrencies. Now, maybe sometime later we get some exchanges and there is some crossover, and we'll see how well it does. But I'm going to guess that most cryptocurrency investors are not going to want to have anything to do with it. So there was some people that seemed like they were buying Bitcoin because of the Facebook thing, but you can see the action since then. It wasn't a good trade. It's so close. We've been here at this spot before, though. Oh, no, wait, we haven't. That was a breakout in CB. You kind of saw ES was starting to make a little bit of headway, and then they just got crushed there. Would you say it's worth picking up a bunch when it's released to sit on? No, because it's a stable coin, right? So if you put $10 into it and then leave it there for a year and then sell it, you're still only going to have $10. It doesn't, it's tied to the dollar, right? Am I going to go for a new low already? Am I going to miss out? Guess not. That that negative action in the ES is causing a little bit of market orders over here in the 10-year. So it's a Facebook version of Tether. Yeah, that's my understanding of it. Granted, I haven't looked at it a whole lot since the first day, but I did look at it and I read the white papers and I read the programming guide. And as far as I can tell, it's basically Tether with smart contract functionality like Ethereum. So when tokens come along, you might be able to make money off of that, but you won't be able to make money just buying the Facebook coin. Another new low. Sucks. Well, the low that I was looking at, the numbers I was looking at below was 29. Well, I think that 29.75 is from a few days past, but I think that low down at 29.72 area, maybe they're going to try and retest that. But there's a good possibility that they come a little bit short. So maybe now that I've missed the short here, maybe it's better for me to just kind of sit on the sidelines for a few more minutes and see what they do. It does look very negative though, doesn't it? Girl as young as 14 cited in vast network of Epstein victims. And curiously enough, the treasuries have come back down to 20 again. I don't know, guys. I think that too many of you are long. I think it wants to go long. But it can't because you guys are all already in. Remember when they said Pizzagate was a hoax? Well, so hold on, because Epstein being proven to be a sex trafficker doesn't prove the larger Pizzagate is true, right? So Pizzagate is like a large amorphous thing. Pepperidge Farm remembers. And it was specifically about a particular pizza parlor. I would say for Pizzagate to be considered like proven, it would have to be shown that that particular pizza parlor was involved in sex trafficking and that Clinton was associated with it. I think that's what I would probably need to say that Pizzagate was true. But if we say elites in Washington are involved in sex trafficking, yeah, I think everybody knows that. See, it's just not the way that it's acting is like I could just keep going down and down and down and down, but it's going to be super hard to jump on board. I always say that the film Eyes Wide Shut was a documentary. I have not seen that. That anti-Trump tech blogger who got nabbed a month or so back, his Twitter handle was Dr. Pizza. What? I didn't hear about that. Where do you see Bitcoin go in the short term? Back to 8,500, then up higher? Well, so I think that right now, we did have kind of like a short-term head and shoulders pattern going on here that has failed and is now doing a head test. So there's still a possibility that it breaks down. But my indicator still says that we're overbought. Like we're like 150 right now. So if, in order for them to go higher than this 1400, there would need to be quite a bit more churning action back and forth here with a lot of activity on the blockchain to be able to support it. Because once you get above 200 on the indicator, it's like, not even Tether can keep it propped up. And right now we're like at 160. But, on the time frame that you're talking about, Jatman, my indicator as of late has not been very predictive. And so I can't really say with certainty what the next rung is going to be, only that I personally don't want to be involved. Peter Bright. Okay. Well, the E-mini looks pretty depressed here. I mean, look at this. They come down to the bottom here. It's incredibly dead. It may give us a short-term reversal signal here. He worked for Ars Technica and Condé Nast. That was... Yes, I remember that. Ugh, he looks like a creep. Ugh. He's married. I don't know what the deal is. It's interesting how many sex criminals exist in social justice circles on Twitter, specifically male sex criminals. Well, here's the thing you got to remember. It's all a function of the political strategy, right? What is the difference between right and left, at least as we define it here in America, right? Conservatives are people that generally are cautious about change and like the way that things are, and they only want to change things incrementally. What other platform are you streaming on? So I stream on YouTube, Twitch, and DLive. So I think here on DLive, I should have links to the YouTube as well, or you can just search for Speculator Seth. But most people talk on YouTube. I appreciate you talking on DLive, though. That always helps us bring in more people on DLive, and I would really like to see platforms other than Twitch and YouTube take off, because I'm concerned about censorship on YouTube. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yes, conservatives, they generally want things to stay the same, whereas liberals generally want to try new and radical ideas that are extremely different from the way that things are today. So if you think about politics is the art of getting more people to agree with you so that you can win in elections. If you want people to vote for changing things, how do you get them to do that? They have to be dissatisfied with the current system. That is why the Democrat Party is always about sowing discord. Always. They don't want people to be happy, because if people were happy, they wouldn't vote for Democrats anymore. I don't like YouTube or Twitch for different reasons. Yeah, I hear you. But that's why I got it on here. The thing is I probably should turn the robot back on and just take the Discord out of it, because I don't know if I need that anymore. But that way you would be able to see their comments without going over there. But I read them on here, and you can also see in my, the left corner of the screen, you can see all of the chat together. So you can watch that. And then you can see what I'm responding to. They had a little bit of a buy there, and it's like already it's already failing. So I'm wondering if they're going to give me any kind of a trade today. I mean, I could take it now, but oh man, See, I can't sell that, unfortunately. DLive is good so far. Yeah, I think that in terms of a service, it's been okay. Was a little bit of, when it first started, when people were looking at the token and everything, they were realizing that basically it's a money making thing for DLive themselves. Which is okay, but I think a lot of people felt like that they were a little bit sketchy and not forthright about how it actually works. And some people kind of thought that maybe PewDiePie wasn't entirely, didn't completely understand what was going on. There's a few broadcasters who use bots to keep the messages for other platforms in all streams. Yes. So the problem that I have with so I use restream.io, that's how you do it. But the problem with the bot is you go in and you say, okay, I want to connect it to YouTube, Twitch, DLive, and Discord, so that I can see them all together here. And I have it set up so that I can see the chat here in my OBS. You see it right there on the side. So in order for me to see the Discord over here, I have to stick it in there. And then when you turn on the robot, as of last time I checked, there's no way to say, okay, I want to see all of these channels here, but I don't want the robot to mirror everything. And I don't want the robot to mirror the Discord. So that's why I don't have the robot mirroring things right now. We had it on for a time, and we turned it off because people in Discord found it irritating. Anyways, because here in YouTube, we chat about a bunch of, fun stuff like, Epstein and politics and things like that. And in the Discord, it's supposed to be focused completely on that one instrument. So there's 21. Oh, they touched 21. Oh, yes. See, it was like I had forgotten about it. Could probably buy that 22 if they give it to you. Probably they won't. I suppose we are getting like the normal correlation now, though, so there's that, which is nice. They're reluctant to hit it. Should be. Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to take it down, and then they're immediately going to push it back up and stack another 1,000 on it. And seeing that 22, even now being, well, if we start seeing 22.5 start to show balanced behavior, then we know that there's a good chance at a new high. Next stop, 24. I think that they're gonna touch 22 here, and maybe then I don't know if it's gonna just rush right up though. Now how do equities react to it is the question. Is the question I have. I'm also still not so sure about this E-mini thing because that was a sell impulse and all, but when I look at the chart, the thing that I see here is, okay, this touch here yesterday after the news becomes the new support. They will try and retest it. I don't think that things are so dire in the E-mini, so chances are that they come short of it. So they might be reversing anywhere in here. I don't know. And so it's hard to Hi, wrong. It's hard for me to take a trade off of it now. If I could have taken the short here at the beginning. Oh well. Oh well. And it's hard to take a long on it, you know? I think that the momentum and everything favors a short, but then you got all that stuff that we just talked about. You take a short, and then it's going to reverse in my face. And what I saw there at 29.7550, it's interesting that I have an X marked there, because I don't remember why I put that there, but they turned off of it, but it wasn't like a really clear turn to me. Don't see anything that shows me a clear turn. In fact, now that we're coming back up a little bit, they're less interested. $21 is a double top. No. They touched 22. And they did make a new high. So here they are. So here's another thing is like, I want to buy it. And like you're at the top of the range. Why would I buy it there? I should be buying it down here. If at all. Okay, so they just made 22 go offer again with a pretty aggressive tick. Might be some spoofing there. Kind of fighting around here. The E-mini is now incredibly range bound. They're kind of like, look, Seth, we're stopping just for you. Get on board. Sorry. I'm not very good at switching back. Maybe I wonder if there's a thing that will just like automatically after a few minutes we'll switch it back to the other thing. T and X is an interesting level. We'll need to watch reaction to prior balance move for ZN. Well, when I get a zipper at the high of the day, that was the one that I when I get like an 11 tick zipper, I usually think it's going to reverse, but I don't play it when it's at the end of the range because it's uncertain if it's going to go up or down. Just based on the way that the 30 years ticking, I think that they might come back. Now that they're coming back to where the breakout was, they're going to say, okay, we're going to move up higher or not. can tell here in the E-mini, even though they're taking a few ticks down, they still don't seem too anxious to go down for it. And I still have a hard time reading it. Okay, so there was a down tick at 21.5. They're going to give 21. Could be a bounce along, but harder to break through, I think, yeah. I think that ZV is going to be stubborn about it. So there was 77. So I am seeing some volume trade down here. So if we're getting a D here, then that means sellers getting stopped out and hitting responsive buyers. I don't know. Lots of volume though. Feeling a little how do I explain? A little dreamy, maybe lightheaded. Like I'm not really here watching this. It's kind of weird. Just going back to the thing I said at the beginning that I feel like that I'm a little bit too tense. So I'm trying to be relaxed here. For some reason, watching ES here, 2976 is making me feel a little bit anxious because I guess I just still want to buy it. I don't think that that's the right call though. Because there was delta short for starters, and we're below the initial balance, which is something we're looking at more. Making all of those new lows and everything like that. That's a hard one to buy. Doesn't mean that the buy is not going to happen. In fact, my gut still tells me that they're going to stop short here and that we're going to go back and get above 29.90. That's what my gut thinks. Okay. So there was a buy there. Didn't get above the last swing. And it's already coming back. I guess when I see something like that where you usually want to wait for another one, right? There was a buy. Now watch it wash them out. And then maybe you can buy it. Treasuries still not looking incredibly. Well, there is some absorption at 21.5. Trade what you see, not what you think. Well, I guess I'm not sure what I see, What do I see? Well, I see the context. Okay, the context is really clear to me, right? On Friday, there was a big move down that almost completely retraced. And now here in the morning session, we are down again. And off of the open, we sold, but we have not broken the low from Friday. That's what I see, context-wise. And order flow-wise, I can see that there was one buy and now another buy that did actually take us above. So the buy would make more sense now. Maybe not that particular spot though. If you could get it like right here or something like that. They're already teasing me. That trade in the 10-year is not working out at all, is it? I think that I've got to give that one up. Probably right where it's time to might be buying it. Tough entering ahead of the overnight high, yeah. I shouldn't have let it go as long as, I was more focused on letting the E-mini, seeing if I could buy the E-mini. Well, it looks like I'm missing the boat, man. It was close. I don't like this move up, though. They're not as interested. I'm still a little suspicious. Anyways, I thought, with that trade, I thought the next move was going to be up higher. So for them to have come back to, that should have been the end of it. Now the split side of this is that we're still in a spot where they might sell, Although that was a decent return in cumulative delta, wasn't it? Support for confirmation is conservative. When you make a trade like that, you really got to stick your neck out, don't you? Looks like bears control, but still rangy. First hour not over. I also can see some movement down in 6J. So I think that we may be in a situation where the technicals and the fundamentals are in conflict. You know what I mean? So the technicals definitely seem to indicate that the Treasury should be moving higher, but the fundamentals seem to suggest that the economy is not so bad and that maybe the E-mini is going to buy. And so if the E-mini is going to buy, then the Treasuries are going to have to give it up and go lower. $400 keeps coming on the bid. Talking about in the... Which instrument are you talking about? In ES. Oh, yeah. Well, there's been some strong... Look at what happened here at 29.80. And then we come back to the open. Now they're pausing at the open, which is annoying, but probably have to anticipate that one. Axie has a good elite trader doing just that before the break if you are interested. Doing what now? I say so many things and I forget like what I said like as soon as I'm done saying it. So sometimes when you guys respond to something, I'm like, what is he talking about? I mean, this looks to me at the moment like range extension lower and failure. But it is turning here. The interest on this move up was less, a lot less. Not a lot less, but a little bit less. You're also coming to overnight VWAP at 2982. So I'm not particularly happy about this spot, but I am seeing a little bit of flow and supporting things here. Like, I'm just seeing a lot trade here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a new point of control much higher than the 2977. I mean, we'd only need to trade 3,000 and we're already trading 1,000 up here. Positioning before the anticipated break of key levels, I put the video on slow motion with the charts on the other monitor to see what he's doing better. Oh, he's playing breaks? That's curious. I really like to play breaks in the 10-year, but it's a tough trade sometimes. It's probably a little easier in the E-mini, isn't it? Okay, so we need to get 16,000 up here. They just did 7. Hmm. He's begun the bund like Rotter. Hmm. Yeah, I guess you could probably do that on the bund. You know, the bund looks, whenever I watch those oh, okay, so quite a bit of volume coming in here now. Interesting. So there was some retail guys getting stopped out there for sure. 2982, we're seeing a lot of volume trade now too. So can I hold it? Does the flipper still trade? That's a good question. I haven't heard anything about him in a long time. Is that his name, Marauder? Anyways, whenever I watch the Axie guys trade the bund, it looks like fun. It looks like it has a lot of liquidity and like the treasuries, but it moves around a lot like the E-mini. You know, that kind of looks like that would be fun to trade. I don't know if that would be very good trade for me though. Not sure he's keeping a low profile. Yeah, I would keep it. You know, here's the thing. Anybody that's that good is probably going to keep a low profile for sure, right? Okay. Definitely see some guys getting stopped out there. So you notice anytime that you start seeing big prints here in the MES, I'm starting to learn that means that all of the retail guys that were short from here are getting stopped out, essentially. That's my take. Well, they didn't quite fill me there. I'm surprised that it says that I'm still 27 in line, given how it traded there. What is spoof to sell on ES? You think so? Okay, cool. I'm happy. Need to relax still. My target was 29.8850 was the last swing high, right? Anthony said something, but I can't see it. That was a real turn. Rotter is out of the business? How do you know that, Swiss? He retired? Well, you know, given the way that he was doing things and that you know, they made rules so that you can't do that anymore, I would probably not trade anymore too. Ken LaTX says thoughts on ZB. Okay. No, almost thought. Good morning, Seth. Thank you, Anthony. You always got to come in and say hi. It helps. You know what? I wish that YouTube considered the messages during the live stream into the algorithm for afterwards when it just becomes a regular video. So I've noticed at first I was like, oh man, it seems like every time that I have a bad day, that's the video that everybody watches. But then I started really looking at it and I noticed that on those videos, for some reason, there would be a bot that would come in and post about cryptocurrencies. You'll notice they always put like an email at the end of their message trying to get you to talk to them. And when one of those bots comes in, there will be like 4 or 5 other people that will respond to him. And that's what boosts the video in the rankings. So I stopped deleting them as spam. I was just like, okay, fine. I'll just I'll just keep it. And I can see on a video, like I had my wife comment on a few videos, and you could see the moment that she comments on the video, um, it starts getting more views and it starts to trend higher than all of my other videos. So when you guys come back later in the day, watch the video, because I usually post a comment a little bit later in the day, after whatever it was that I was watching has played out, so that I can kind of say what I really thought about it in the end. So when you guys come back and comment on those, it helps the videos a ton. And it's just unfortunate because you guys say so much and help so much when the stream is going. And that's probably the best indication of whether or not it was a good stream. And YouTube doesn't consider it at all. Rodder was a big dick in Bun Market. Oh, Uzi has no idea who Rodder is. So Rodder is the flipper. He was a big trader in the Bund that would spoof tons of orders and cause all sorts of chaos. So big, he would have to ask the banks if they could cover his size. Yes, he made tons of money from spoofing. Why don't you take the profits sometimes, the lady asks. So I don't think that it's done. Although the way that it's starting to move now, I'm starting to wonder if I do take it. And I did take partial profit, right? Don't let that bad boy reverse on you. Oh, you guys stop. You're messing with my head now. Now you're messing with me. Okay, so I am noticing one thing is that there was some absorption in the treasuries there. There's a couple of bubbles here in this location at the 15 in the 30-year and the 24.5 in the 5-year. There was a big order 29.85 in the E-mini that they kind of bounced off of. This iceberg in the 30-year is actually bigger now. Now there's 1,000 that traded there. E-mini is coming back a little bit. I'm wondering though they might bounce off of 29.82. I don't think that it's a reason for me to panic yet. I should be saying like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So where the 20 is. Not on your profile because it reset, but the whole profile value high, yeah. Uzi says bouncing off of value high. Oh, we're talking about in the 30-year. Yeah. Now, I think that we had a really strong move up. We should have at least a little bit of a pullback. So I don't want to be scared out by the pullback, Probably would have been best to have gotten out at 30 though, huh? But you can see they're starting to build up a little bit of volume right here. No, you're talking the ES? Okay. Okay. I hear you guys. I appreciate it. Because it didn't really dawn on me that was a significant, that right there. I mean, it could still just be a pullback. The way that it's acting right now, I'm okay with. But let's just watch the flow right here. If we need to see continued interest, right? Should see continued interest here. There was some interest at 29.8275. Okay. I guess so the reason I didn't take profit was because I was looking for it to go to 89. So I suppose if I don't get that, then I'm pretty lost at that point as to what happens next. Hmm. Okay, so there is some more volume trading here at 29.82, 25. There's a 10. There's 1,000, and there's 700 on this side. If they clear this side, it's probably going to be 1,000. He's trying. He's hitting it. Oh, it didn't actually quite clear 1,000 there. Now it'll probably be 1,000. There you go. We are getting a little bit of up again. So let's see if this is the swing or not. Supported VWAP may bode well for you. Yeah, the overnight VWAP at 29.82 here. The whole interplay between the regular session VWAP and the overnight VWAP is interesting, I think. Okay. So they're definitely stuck between here at 29.82 between the 25 and the 75. Between the quarter and 3/4. So all that tells me is balance. Okay, so now they're coming back to the open price. Okay, so that right there concerns me. Yeah. Just the way that, almost all of that delta that went long took profits and has come back. Definitely wish that I had taken a profit up at the 30, because then, if it comes back down to here, I could buy it again. I'm always saying that, aren't I? Oh, and it's about 8:32. That's another issue. Well, I can give it a little bit more time. Hmm. Well, they're not bouncing off the VWAP. They're actually going to a standard deviation below it. The sell is still not stronger than that buy, but the way that the delta is behaving here, yeah, it's not positive. And there's just kind of like this little field of nothing below us that also concerns me. Okay. Well, that ended up being a big nothing. Should have just taken it off right when you guys were like, hey, why not take it? So I wonder what exactly, I mean, so I don't see, was that like the overnight value high? 29.84? I don't know. I really thought that it was going to go to 89. Guess I was just wrong. I guess I should consider myself lucky that I got anything out of it. But yeah. Uzi says I posted a chart for you. Oh, that's right. Let's see here. That was before we were talking about Rotter, wasn't it? No, I don't see it anymore. Now, not zooming through here very quickly, at least. Yeah, not on your profile because of the reset, but the whole day profile high, yes. Okay. So would you be taking the profit right there at the value high though? Or would you be, once it bounced off of the value high, you would be like, okay. Yeah, that's when I told you about the value high bounce. Gotcha. Amazing how ES turned at 720 levels, 2984 area. Yeah, I'm a little... Well, and look at the sell. It seems to me like somebody really believes that the E-mini is a sell here. Like this is just like after the news, you know, and they started selling it, and it was like, well, why are they selling it? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But they went and they went and they went until they pushed it as far as they could. It feels to me like this guy is, you know, he wants to go short and he's not, he doesn't think he's done. Well, it sucks that I lost that, but that was actually the only trade that I took live. So, and I made, you know, 5. That's okay, I guess. Make back some commissions. I mean, if I were in your boat where I was in a good long, I'd have been looking to bail at value high unless there was like obvious rampant buying. Okay. Yeah, and it was like there was rampant buying all the way up to here, but then when they went to the 84, it was a little bit slower, wasn't it? But the way that they bought, I'm just surprised that they're able to get back down to the bottom so easily. It doesn't look to me. It doesn't look to me like this selling has been as strong. You think that you guys are finally going to get your 24? Well, if the E-mini really sold here, then I think you could get it. Tell you what, this trend down, way too much. I mean, look at that. The hardly anything back. Got him for $100 a one lot bear put vertical in SPX. Oh. Yeah, somebody thinks it's negative. I think that they're wrong, though. Because the Federal Reserve is probably still going to cut in July. Well, now you're at the regular session value low. Maybe you buy that. Well, there's a lot of volume trading down here again. They might make a new low, but if they do, they're not going to be able to extend it by very much before they'll have to pull back. Cumulative delta, though, I think it's going to have to prevent me from going long here. Is just too much of a fall in cumulative delta. Well, it's okay. It's okay. I've been stressing out too much, folks. Something like that would have really frazzled me. I'm feeling the need to want to take another trade. It's 8:30. I should just relax. Say, okay, well, we got an okay runner. Didn't quite go to where we wanted it to. We still made a little bit off of it. It's okay. Now the treasuries are falling? Let's see here. 4th of July, it was 163. So we're actually like at 170 now on Bitcoin. ZB seems very reluctant. Yeah. Well, it seems like it's messing with us. You know what I mean? Like it should have gone up there, and then it didn't. It's like doing the exact opposite of what it feels like we should be. I like watching the time and sell sprints on SPY and see when I see large uneven size orders selling on a downtick. It looks good. Yes, well, we do that in Treasuries too. How do you really have the data to see all that? Why would you take it on SPY and not ES? I'm on Thinkorswim. Well, I do know that they allow you to see level 2 and stuff, but I thought it was still a little bit I don't know. I'm pretty sure that you still can't see all of the same stuff that you see on the futures, right? I watch ES right next to it. Okay. ETH, LTC, PIVX. I wish that Patreon just allowed me to attach a bunch of things all at once, because this is such a pain in the butt. Verge as dead as ever. Verge just looks like a dead cryptocurrency. It's so funny. Probably makes it a good buy. Okay, gonna type here. Okay, well, I was thinking if I bought it, it would be at 29.77. Overall, though, this just does not look like something that I want to be long on anymore. So I got a good trade there. We'll see what they do, if they break yesterday's low or not. Kind of feel like that this was, move down, back to balance, range extension lower, rejection, but not making it back to balance. So they're going to try and push it down again. No guarantee that they're going to make it. In fact, the way that it's trading down here kind of makes me think that they're still going to hold this spot. But you can't buy 29.7850. You have to buy it down here. Don't like the 76.50. You would have gotten it, though. You would have gotten filled if you had it out there. I think, because they traded to 76.25. And Treasuries, ooh, the 5-year. I don't think I want to be long Treasuries anymore. But if the Treasuries fall out here and the E-mini buys, then that's kind of the way that I expected things to go, and then that means everything's good, right? I don't know. Okay, well, I took a couple of trades. 2 of them were really bad. This is the end one. I shouldn't have let that one go as far as it did, but to lose 3 ticks, I guess, is okay, but it should have only been 2 ticks. This one, this trade might have been ill-advised. I think we talked about that one, right? And then this one, I could have taken a better profit on it. So it sucks, but what you gonna do? Has to do with how I scale out and everything. I'm still wondering if I need to do something about that. So anyways, but that was the only one that was alive, and it was only $5, so one day it's okay. And let's see here, what else do we have to say? Oh yeah, as always, check the Patreon. I post every day. You can see the posts a week later. If you contribute for $5 a month, then you get to see it that day. And I would recommend doing that if you really want to get in, because if you want to get in, they don't show it to you for very long. And by the time you see it on my Patreon page a week later, it's going to be too late. Seki Beth, hey, thanks for saying hi. I'm about to leave though. Also, come back, watch the video later in the day, and look at the comments. I usually leave a comment by the time I get into work. about what, so we can see if it goes below the 2970 or not, and I comment on it. And then, all of your comments that you leave on the video make a big difference on growing the community. So if you do that, I really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, he's like, damn it, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. You got to come. Early bird gets the worm. So we start at 8:30 Eastern time to about 10:30 Eastern time. So, but I'm on every day. Every day. So I'll catch you then. In the meantime, hey, stay profitable.